Good morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to downtown Chicago. Our last day here before we head out for a little bit. Just getting ready to get on with Dave. Dave will be here in just a few moments.
20 before. That means it's time to check in and find out what's going on with your money. And every once in a while, Wall Street even confuses the experts and can't figure out why it goes one way or the other. It's one of those days. Let's see if we can just noodle it through together. Phillip Statler is on the line from Statler Financial Services in downtown Sebring, but from his exotic remote studio location. Is this an undisclosed location? Do you want to admit you went to a baseball game last night?
Yeah. I got to go see the Cubs a little bit last night, downtown Chicago. Just our last day here. Finished up some training yesterday, and had a good 2 days of meetings with a small group of financial advisors, kind of masterminding what we need to do to be better advisors, and good meetings. So finished up yesterday. I'll be in Chicago today, and then start my vacation.
All righty. We mentioned yesterday, no matter how good a pro is, extra viewpoints and extra tips and tricks always come in handy. So you come back from these just full of ideas for your clients, and it's good for everyone.
Absolutely. Are you there? You're fading in and out here. Let me see if I can.
As loud as I can. It's a long trip up to Chicago. I'll set the table for this morning. Yesterday was an off day on Wall Street, and we were saying before we went on the air, we really don't know exactly what it was that dropped things down. Maybe just an overreaction from the day before. 173 points down on the Dow, 54 down on the NASDAQ, and the Standard & Poor's was down by 23. That means we were just a little either side of 0.2% down yesterday, and as near as either one of us could figure, it was just the herky-jerky talking about a payroll tax cut, wasn't it?
I'm thinking so, Dave, because I really...
Are you there, Phillip?
I'm here. You there?
I think we done lost Phillip on the long-distance phone call here. We're going to try it again on our solo basis. Again, it was an off day yesterday. Really, absolutely nothing...
Hey, you there?
Overwhelming that changed things. We're talking economic stimulus again for the first time in eons, with President Trump talking about the notion of a payroll tax cut. It's expected to be a correction day today, a correction to a down day yesterday. What does that mean? Probably take some of it back and then hold steady, because the minutes of the last Federal Reserve meeting are due to be released about 2 p.m. this afternoon. And given the fact that it wasn't what some investors expected, it might very well be a big market mover this afternoon about 2 p.m. this afternoon. Federal Reserve bankers meet in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, starting tomorrow, and that's going to prompt a lot of leaks and an awful lot of watching as well as to what the Federal Reserve and its advisors from outside the Federal Reserve are talking about as well. So we've got a lot of market movers based upon trying to guess what's likely to happen. As mentioned, we're basically taking back what we gave up yesterday, because there wasn't really any great reason to give up a lot yesterday. 45 minutes before we opened this morning, $21 up and change on the Standard & Poor's futures. NASDAQ's pointing up by 61, and the Dow pointing up just about what it went down yesterday. It's up 182 points on the futures 45 minutes before we open. Commodities, gold is off by a little bit this morning, holding above $1,500 an ounce, though, which is still way above what it was a year or so ago. Crude oil is inching back upward, but still staying under $57 a barrel. And overseas markets profoundly mixed. Japan went off a little bit at the close before early this morning, our time. The Asian rim markets, other than Japan, generally up, including the Chinese and Hong Kong markets. In response to that, Europe is up resoundingly this morning on stimulus news in Germany and over in Great Britain. Both the English and German markets are up by better than 1% this morning. If we're following the interest rates, 10-year Treasury notes are off by only 1 basis point from yesterday, but they recovered a bit yesterday, 1.59.
Folks, not sure what happened today. Technology works when it works, and when it doesn't, it doesn't. But hey, let me just kind of fill in some of the holes there at the end of the presentation. Dave went through a lot of the different things as far as the macros. We did have Target come out report. They beat the street both on earnings per share and same-store sales, and so they've increased their guidance going forward, they're trading up. The big winner for the day, probably, they're up almost 17% this morning before we get going. And then we've got Lowe's. You know, we had Home Depot yesterday or day before. We've got Lowe's coming in today. They beat by 14 cents a share. Same store sales also were better than expected. So doing well there. We had Toll Brothers, another construction company, plays a big role when we start looking at housing. They beat by 17 cents a share. But they've got some little orders are dropping, and so there's some mixed emotions about how Toll Brothers is really doing. They're basically flat right now before the market opens up. We got one more retailer coming in, and that's Urban Outfitters. Urban Outfitters came in 3 cents ahead of estimates. Both revenue and same-store sales came in below what Wall Street had forecasted, and so they're up just a little bit this morning, about 0.5%. So they're down in the lower part of their trading range. And the last one I have today is Cree, the light bulb maker. They came in with a quarterly profit, 11 cents a share, a penny better than expected, and revenue was exceeded what they expected also, but they gave some weaker than expected guidance going forward. They're trading down today 4%. As we get ready to start the day, it looks like right now that we're going to get back some of what we lost yesterday. The Dow is up 181 points. The S&P 500 futures are up 21 3/4. NASDAQ's up 59 3/4. And so 10-year Treasury is moving up also to 1.58%. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the show. I know it's a little herky-jerky today with everything going on and some of the technology issues we've had today. But we want to remind you that even though we're leaving for out of the office on vacation for a couple of weeks, our office is still open. Please call, make an appointment for our financial x-ray analysis at 863-382-0037. And then join us every weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show at 6 a.m. and noon on Saturdays and 10 a.m. on Sunday mornings on News Talk 730 a.m. And you can catch it online streaming at newstalk730am.com. Have a great day. I look forward to speaking to you soon.